Well, good morning, viewers. Today we have a 2012 Nissan Murano, and it has a noise in the front of the engine. I'm going to try and set up the camera and the microphone to see this. And down at the bottom down there, you see the bottom pulley down there, which is the AC compressor, is wobbling. So I'm going to set this extra microphone that I have. I'm going to set it someplace on the steel down here so that I can maybe pick up the recording. Let's see if we can get it. So I'm hoping that microphone is picking it up. It's just running on fast idle now. That bottom pulley is wobbling in and out. Let me try to focus in on it. Focus. I think the AC compressor hub bearing. The camera doesn't want to focus on it. So we're going to raise it up on the hoist and have a look at that pulley. So with it up on the hoist and the right front wheel off, I've got to take this inner fender plastic trim off. Hopefully we can get at it. I think it's right here. Can't see it from the bottom. Yeah, let's take these push pins out. There's little clips you have to pop out. So once that inner plastic fender is out, there's the pulley in question now. There's tension on it because of the belt. This is the belt tensioner here. It has to be pulled down, and I see it has a caging hole, so you can put about a 6 mil or 5 to 8 mil bolt through there to hold it in the released position. So let's do that and get the tension off the belt. So with that pulley cage, I used a 1/4 inch punch to hold the tensioner pulley released. There is play in this bearing, and it is rough, but the compressor is rough too. I didn't notice if the compressor was actually running or not. I'll have to watch my video because it's warm enough. It's been in the shop overnight, so it's warm enough for the AC to be running, but I don't think it was. I see there's green dye, refrigerant dye in you can see the green underneath the compressor. So the compressor appears to be leaking. I'm going to have to look a little closer at that. So you can see the evidence of refrigerant dye. I put refrigerant in this thing last summer, I think, and I couldn't ever find any significant leaks, but I put dye in it. You can see the green traces on the compressor casing. So this thing's getting a compressor. I mean, the noise might be the bearing, but you can see the dye coming out of the compressor. Yeah. Looks like it's fastened in from this side here. There's probably one fastener at the back, and then we'll have to evacuate and recharge. There's that caging pin, so it didn't have to take the belt right off, just flip it off. Let's look up parts. So we're going to change the AC compressor on this Murano today. Just hooked up my AC machine to the service ports, opened the valves. The system is not empty because it's got static pressure of 90 psi in it. I haven't run it, so we'll evacuate and see how much we get out of it. So we're already into a vacuum and we've only recovered 0.2 kilograms. Well, it's fluctuating between 0.15 and 0.2. And the system holds 0.6 kilograms. So it was definitely low on refrigerant. It would have had a problem with it come summertime. So we'll get this prepared to finish evacuating and get prepared to switch the compressor. Now I did take that plastic trim off underneath the bumper. There's all kinds of push pins on there that hold that on, half of which I'll have to replace because they all break. So I removed the little 10 millimeter headed nut or bolt that holds the oil coolant line, so I can pull this down and get at the lower bolt here. I'm hoping I can leave this here, maybe just pull it down slightly. I gotta unplug the electrical connector up there, and there's 2 bolts on the back and the 2 lines. I'm hoping that we can fish it out through this. Actually, this pipe will come out of the clips. This is a power steering cooler line or return line. I'm going to leave it there for now. Maybe it'll go around it. So that plastic cover, if you take it off, the one that goes across here, allows access to the upper bolt with a 14 mil deep flex socket. There's the lines. I've got all 3 bolts out and I've got this one loose. But I'm gonna take the lines off now. I've disconnected the electrical plug and removed the wiring harness. That goes to the oil pressure sensor. It's clipped to the side of the compressor. So let's take the 10 mil bolts out that hold the AC lines on now. So I took the tensioner, or not tensioner, the idler pulley off, one 13 mil headed bolt, and I'm hoping I can weasel this out of here, but I need 2 hands. So I did have to pop these 2 clips off and pull the pipe out like this, but that's no big deal. We're going to change the O-ring seals on the pipes before we put the new compressor back in. I'm going to try to drain the oil out of the compressor to see if there's any debris in it. I don't think so. It feels smooth when I turn it. I was just changing it because the bearing had failed and it's leaking. So that's my opinion anyways. So I drained the refrigerant or the oil out of the old compressor and nothing came out. Now the procedure for replacing the compressor is to add lubricant, oil, PAG 46 oil. It says to record how much comes out and put that much back in and add 2 ounces, US ounces, 2 imperial fluid ounces, 5 milliliters of lubricant. It also suggests that if there was a leak, in case of refrigerant leak, small leak, it says no additional lubricant is needed. Well, define small leak. I mean, we've seen the residue of the oil on the compressor, so I'm probably going to put in about 10 milliliters just to be on the safe side. 5 milliliters, it says to add additional 5 milliliters or 2 ounces. So I'll put in 4 ounces unless I can find some other information, but the whole system holds about 5 ounces of refrigerant oil. According to the tag on here, depending on what color label is on here, it says this is pre-charged with 3 ounces of oil. So the manufacturer said add 2 ounces plus what you took out, and I didn't take anything out. So I was going to put 3 to 4 ounces in it. It also says to stand the compressor pulley down for 3 minutes to lubricate the front seal to avoid the seal leaking because it's been sitting in storage. It comes with new O-rings. So we're going to put these 2 O-rings on. That one looks, of course, that could be, it looks thicker, but they could be collapsed, probably collapsed. I'm going to try them anyways. So there's the replacement compressor installed. Tighten these 2 bolts up first, this one top one and the bottom one, then the 2 back bolts, because that pushes the compressor against the block and then doesn't pull the housing out of shape. I've reinstalled this. I put Loctite on this bolt. I looked for the Torx and I couldn't find them, so They're 10 millimeter bolts, probably about 24 foot-pounds, but they're going into aluminum, so this one it's impossible to get a torque wrench on anyways. So we're going to put a new serpentine belt on it and charge the system again. Oh, my trouble light just turned off. When you're putting this belt on, put this pulley on last. Run the belt on the outside of the pulley and you'll be able to slip it over top. And again, I had it pinned with a 1/4 inch punch back there in that locating hold, so you didn't have to hold it. So now we're going to let it down and evacuate it for a minimum of half an hour. So I'm going to draw it down for 40 minutes. I did cap the lines when I had the compressor out while I was waiting for the parts people. But it's always good to draw it down for at least a half an hour, in my opinion. While I'm letting that do that, I'm looking for that bolt torque. So the top one on the front and the bottom one on the front, and the top one at the back and the bottom one at the back is the order to torque them. But it doesn't specify in the compressor installation what the torque is. If I looked it up on this page here, it shows a picture of the compressor and it shows these bolts 55, 5.6 and 41. So it's not 55 foot-pounds, might be 55 Newton meters. But I don't know what 5.6 is and 41 is. 41 foot-pounds, that seems a lot for that little 10 mil bolt. And these two are 61, 6.3 and 45. I clicked something by accident. So I'll see if I can find it while I'm waiting for that to evacuate. So the first number with the wrench is Newton meters, and then kilograms per meter and foot-pounds. Wow. So you'll have to go back and watch that section of the video again if you want the bolt torque. So we're about to recharge it with 0.6 kilograms. I've already put oil in it. Now I may have to start it and finish charging it on the low side. It's hard to say. Well, it might take the full charge without having to start it. Close high side coupler. Now I did turn the compressor several revolutions by hand to make sure that it wasn't hydraulically locked. Continue, start the car. And turn the AC on. It is on. Yes, it is on. So we'll give it a chance to stabilize and we'll check the high side pressure. Low side is about 38. It's going to cycle on again. There it goes. Wow, that's pretty low. Let's see what the high side pressure is. 145, 35. I'm only gonna let it run for a few minutes. On a positive note, the pulley is not wobbling and making noise anymore. Let's wait for the compressor to re-engage. There it goes. Nice and quiet. Didn't even hear it kick in. Well, we're going to check it for leaks with the leak detector, and if there's no leaks, we're going to ship it.